Good morning, everybody. Today is day 82. It is April 24th, 2023. Let's get started on our walk and talk. Okay, so we are up to speed 4. All right, the first thing on our list is today is going to be a double day. Okay, and I'm going to see how this video goes. So right now this is going to be video 1. And the reason why I say that is because so far as having a topic for today for the second video, I'm still kind of working on that. Okay, so let me tell you, with it being a double day, what day the second video is going to make up for. It is going to make up for day 88, which is April 30th. And hopefully, I won't have any more double days this month. Okay, so in the second video, as you guys know, I'm going to tell you that again. Okay, just as a quick reminder in the beginning. Okay, so let me move this paper. And this is so funny, you guys. I'm really hoping that I can read my writing. My print is awful. I think I was telling you guys before. Once I learned how to write in cursive, my print just kind of went down the drain. Okay, so you know that phrase, chicken scratch? Yeah, my print's not too much better than that. And then plus, I wrote it on printer paper, so there's no lines. And I think I was telling you guys before, that's why I bought that notebook. But the notebook is supposed to be just I'll say the topic. And then sometimes it is like, okay, what am I actually going to say while I'm up there? But for some reason, I didn't want to write it in my notebook. I decided to just scribble this down on this paper. Okay, so I had an interesting topic a while back, which was my husband's idea. And I think I told you guys that I warned him that I should not do that topic. He said, oh, you should do a video on what it's like to be married to someone that's a workaholic. And, you know, or just to be with someone that's a workaholic in general, right? And so I said, okay. And yeah, I tried to be as nice about that as I could, but I did tell him I don't really have anything nice to say. He's like, that's okay, I'll still love you anyway. He was like, just tell people what it's like. So I came up with the topic this morning, and I thought, you know what, I think you've kind of touched on this a little bit throughout your videos, and I thought, you know what, I don't even remember. I have too many. Okay, like I said, today is day 82. And so, I mean, just with these videos alone, I mean, yes, I write down the notes of, in general, what I talked about, but sometimes, you know, you think of something like right in the middle of the recording, and so I would have to go back and look in like the middle of my paragraphs, right? So I was like, okay, I actually think that this is the first time that I've made a walk and talk about this topic where I just kind of stayed on the topic. Okay, so what is it? It is, what is it like to be in a relationship with someone that does YouTube? Yes, okay, so some of you might remember some of the stuff I said before. Like I said, this is all questions that I asked him, and these are the answers that he gave. All right, so that was the first question, and that was the main question. That's what this topic is like based off of. And then it kind of goes from there. And then we'll do a time check and see how much time we have left. And like I said, I really don't think that this is going to go into the second video. I'm not even quite sure it's going to cover the first walk. So let's just see where we're at when we finish. All right, we will do a quick time check. Just to, that is what I was afraid of having happen. That's why I have the notebook. Okay, so that's not good because I have to read that. So I'm going to fold that, and I'm going to let it get to 5 minutes. And then we will go from there because, oh yeah, no, that's way too far down. There's no way I can reach that. All right, so first time for everything, you guys. This is the first time that the paper has ever just Oh, wow, okay, we're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you guys. Let me just give it 30 more seconds and then I'll stop it. Or actually, I'll stop a little bit before, because it takes a minute to count down. How funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see, we're almost there. Okay, now we have about, so let's see, 10 more seconds. And I'll go ahead and stop it right now, because once it counts down, let's see if I time it just right. Did I do it? Perfect. It stopped right at 5 minutes. Okay, so did not plan on having that happen. Oops. Okay, so now we have 35 minutes left. All right, so let's get this, let's try this again. Let's get this started. Okay, first speed 3. And then I might actually hold this. I always talk about that happening, right? All right, that's 3. And that's 4. Okay. It is easier for me to sit it here, but I'm just gonna, I don't even know why. Oh, because I was switching the places of the papers. I was like, how did I do that anyway? Okay, so he said that it's exciting and concerning. It's exciting because you're excited for your spouse and, or significant other, basically the person that you're in a relationship with. Because it's something that you see them commit to and they get excited about. And it's something that you notice that they enjoy doing. And you get to watch them grow and just get better like over time. Okay, so that was one part of the answer. Now the concerning part. Let's get down here. Okay, so he said that it's, also, actually about the exciting part, it's also exciting because it's a vast opening to the outside world. Okay, but you're concerned about their feelings because of what people might say in the comments, and you worry about how what people will say will affect their feelings. Okay, so if they're easily affected. I'm really not. I just always ask, please keep, the comments polite, but YouTube asks for that anyway, right? And like I said, if you make a comment underneath your own video, then YouTube tells you the same thing. You see the same, I guess you could say notification or message that other people see. Okay, so it even tells you, even though I would think it knows like that it's you, to be kind, be polite. And it kind of warns you what happens if you're not. Okay, so I don't know if you guys see those warnings before you make comments, but if I go to my own page, I'm gonna make a comment, then I see that. And sometimes I'll make a comment like, sometimes I think, I don't know, maybe sometimes it might be if it's the first comment on the page, but sometimes like I'll have a link and I'll just pin it to the top in the comment box so that you don't have to go into the description box to find the link. Okay, so sometimes if my comment's first, that's why it's there. And that's all you'll see. It's like the title of the video and then the link. Okay, so after that, maybe it doesn't give the message anymore. Because now that I think about it, like when I reply to other people, I don't see that. But we know how strict they are about that, and they're very, very strict on a lot of their policies, and they have a lot of them, right? Okay, so also, he said that you worry about their safety. Some people that watch their channels, that watch their content, don't see it as just information about a review on a product or just entertainment. So you do worry about them going viral and how people will act when they see them in public. Okay, so that's also a concern for me as well. I mean, I always tell you guys that I never planned on being in my videos. It was just, I'm going to review these products. What will I review? Okay, well, whatever comes along, especially if it's something that's interesting, something that maybe not be like difficult to do, but it does take some time. And like I said, I don't like research, it's so boring, but I'm good at it. And so often at times I'll tell you guys that if I review something, then unless it's like my first time trying something, then it could be hours of research, days, and multiple videos, because I usually don't like edit, oh, let me cut this piece, let me add this piece together, unless that was intentional for my video to be like that. So sometimes, especially when I'm reviewing a product, sometimes it is the 6th, 7th, or 8th video, because I'll forget something. And then I started making notes. And then it got frustrating because every now and then, if I forgot something, even within the notes, it was like a key factor. Like, oh yeah, you gotta push this button first. And then I had to do the video all over. Then the enthusiasm is gone. I mean, if you make a video, you know what I mean. You know, you start to sound like droopy by the time you get to about the 8th video, right? Like, okay, you guys. Like that monotone voice, right? You're just like, I just wanna just review this, tell them about it, and just go on about my day. And sometimes it's important depending on what it is. It's like, yeah, you know that red button, you know, they say, oh, it's always a red button, don't push. Sometimes it might have that on there. It might be like a safety button or something like that. So you can't leave stuff like that out, right? So yeah. But initially, my intention was to not be in any of my videos at all. You just hear my voice, see the product. I don't care where I have to stand, but it's about the product that I'm reviewing, not about me. So that was just the way I saw it. And with the walk and talking to me, obviously, I can't just run a treadmill and then talk like over there. He was like, where is she? She's not even doing the walk, right? So eventually, you kind of can't help the fact that you do at some point end up in your videos. Okay, so, but yeah, he was just saying, you know, that he knows that it's like that for entertainers. That it's just entertainment. It's just, I don't know how, well, I guess I explained it the way I meant to. I was gonna say I don't know what else really to say about it, but you guys, you catch my drift, right? So, yeah, he's like, he gave an example of, I don't think it was something that I reviewed, it was just something in general. And so, it was interesting that he was saying that also not just the entertainment part, you know, like you're just doing it just to make people laugh, right? The review part. You know, you may not like the product, or you may love the product. Doesn't matter if it's, I don't know, like I did a keyboard, or if it's a hair product or something like that, but somebody else may not. You know, it could be something that simple. And so he was just saying that there are just some people out there that you have to be aware of and be cautious with and about. So that is concerning. Okay, so something else that he also said, and you know what, I just remembered how that paper fell. I was doing the time check, right? Okay, so that just came to mind when I saw it like floating this way in my head, like, oh no, you were picking it up for time. Okay, so also he said, you also worry about the privacy factor. And I mean, obviously, you know, it all depends on how much information does that person disclose. You know, what do they say on their videos? What do they not say? Like me, I try to keep names out of my videos unless the person says I can say their name. Even his name, you know, or like, let's say I went somewhere. Because I have multiple siblings. And so, like I said, I try to keep their names out of it, or, you know, specifically who I guess was there. That would also go with like their name, right? So who said what, you know? And I try to make it to where hopefully it's something like you guys enjoy. Like, oh yeah, favorite movies, favorite TV shows. I started with that kind of somewhat. You know, here's my progress. You know, how do I feel doing this walk? Am I sleeping better? Am I sleeping less? You know, is that a bad thing? So I try to keep it like pretty general based. Like I said, I try to stay away from controversial topics. And so simply because I think some of you guys, not only will they erase the video, don't want to have that happen, right? If it's too controversial, they'll just cut your whole channel. And so you don't want to have that happen. And then also, I'm not an argumentative person. I'm not confrontational. That doesn't mean you can say just anything to me. But honestly, I mean, they always tell you, you know, what's the advice they give you? Oh, like don't erase the comments, blah, blah, blah. And I know YouTube sees all comments as positive comments, just so you know. If you don't know that, even if you say something super mean, they see it as positive feedback, is the word I was looking for. So, but if you go too far, of course, people are going to erase it. Okay, I mean, if YouTube is going to do it, they gave you the right to do it as well. Okay, so I think at that point, it's not even necessary. You know, my grandma used to say, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And so there's nothing wrong with having your thoughts. You know, I've even said that to certain groups of people and young people that, okay, people can see from your actions how you feel, so most of the time you don't have to say anything. You know, and then no one really kind of feels like dealing with certain personalities, right? And that goes for anyone. I'm like that with anyone. Like, it's just, if that's, I mean, you're not going to have good days all the time, but that's when, for me personally, that's when I distance myself from everybody. Or if I'm going through something, that's when, like I said, that's when you hear from me less. That's when I don't call as much. That's when I don't text as much. Because I'm not trying to have you end up being involved with what I'm trying to take care of. And now my life is pretty simple, pretty basic, but I mean, you know, I'm becoming a young adult and getting older, in my early 20s, things like that. Sometimes there was just some things I was going through and I had to handle them, or I didn't really see a way out, but I wasn't going to ask for help. And then, I mean, if I don't see a way out, what do I think the other person's going to see, right? So, and they have their own life, daily life to deal with. So that's how I was. So I would tell people though, you know, at some point you will hear from me, don't worry. So yeah, I guess, and people have different perceptions of things. Sometimes you mean exactly what you said. Sometimes you've explained it and they feel like, oh, but you said, and it's like, I explained what I meant. Like, were you not listening? You know, I'm kind of like that. So I think, I'm surprised I'm even doing this. So, yes, the privacy factor, I think, is how far does that person go into what they say. I mean, you don't go in there like, hi, my name's so-and-so, and I live at such and such address, you know, right? I mean, there might be some people that do that, but, you know, there's only a certain point to where you go, and I think there's a certain line that the person that's with you hopes that you don't go past, right? Because if you're with them, especially if you live together, that involves them as well, their safety. So, or just their privacy, period, you know? So, I guess privacy factor covers like a lot of ground, right? It's not a small thing. And then also, he said that you hope for the best and you keep your eyes open for the worst. And that's just from his own personal experience. So far, it's just life in general. So, yeah. All right, now let's try this again, because I do realize that we only have to walk for 35 minutes before I have to start this thing over to do the video too. So let's see if I can keep from dropping this time. Where are we at? Okay, we're at 12 minutes and 16 seconds. All right, let me put my hand here. I'm like, stay. Okay, the next question I asked him, so I guess I was like, hey, wait a second. Why did you tell me to do this, right? Because yes, this was his idea. Yes, it was. And so I thought, it was so funny because I also said, because I asked him, like I interviewed him this morning on the phone, and I thought, well, he didn't tell you to be in the videos. And I was like, well, no, he didn't. And then I got to thinking, I was like, well, wait a second. Like if I had to review something and we're setting up my phone to record, right? And I'm like, okay, but I don't want it right there. And then he's like, I'm like, he's like, why? And I would tell him because I'm going to be in it. And he goes, okay, so, I mean, we're going to show how to use the product, right? And I'm like, yes, but isn't that possible to do that without me like being in it? And so he was just kind of like, give this scrunch look on his face. That look he always gets when he doesn't understand something. And like, what's the big deal type thing? And so I thought, well, it's about the product. Okay, initially I started with the keyboard, and Amazon erased a couple of my reviews. And the keyboard people saw the review in the video before Amazon took it down. Mind you, they had never erased any of my reviews or any of my videos. So, you know, I think I was telling you guys that my husband was like, okay, well now it's time. Because he would tell me, oh, do a vlog, do a blog. You know, and I thought, well, I want to do like a paid blog, but I saw one of them was like, oh, 2 cents if the person bought the item from your blog, right? So I was like, well, I'm not trying to really do this for free because I know that you can get paid for it. And so he brought up YouTube, and I was like, no. I always said no. And so then when it came down to this, he was like, well, but now you'll get the clicks. And I was like, yeah. He goes, and you need views, right? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, okay, well, this will be perfect because they wanted to be able to somehow feature my video like on their page. Because I know I was chatting with someone and they told me that one of the customers told them that my video was better than theirs. And I was like, what video? I don't even see a video of theirs, but maybe there's a designated page that they can go to show them how to program that keyboard. And I was like, I didn't even know you guys had a video. And so it was funny because the person was, like I said, was chatting with me and told me, well, you know what, I couldn't even be mad because they were right. And so that's what made us reach out to you. And so then I told him, I said, well, I don't even know if I told him that I didn't want to do this, but I told him, how about I take the video and upload it to YouTube because I had already made it. And then people can just go there, you know, I'll give you the link to the video on YouTube and they can just go click on it. And they're like, oh yeah, that would be much easier. You're willing to do that? And I was like, yes, that's how I got started. So very first video that I have is how to program a ergonomic keyboard. It's a split keyboard and it has cherry red switches. And like I said, I'm not a gamer anymore. And so like some of the phrases that you use in the gaming world, so like I kind of have lost touch with that a little bit. And so, you know, it was a learning curve for me too as well. Because before, it was just like you have a keyboard, you have your mouse, you might have a controller that can hook up to the computer, you play the game. Very simple, right? Now they got the RGB lights and stuff like that, which they've had them before. So I'm talking about like my early 20s. So we're talking about like at least 20 years ago, right? And so I was just like, it was so much simpler then. You know, you put your headphone on and you might be playing with someone online, or maybe you and your roommates were all playing together, like, okay, you're like yelling, get him, you know. And it's so funny because one's in their bedroom, you're in your bedroom, we're in the living room, the other person might be in the living room with you, and then you guys are just having a fun time. And that's how I started being a gamer, right? So, and it was fun. It was lots of fun. I discovered, I think I told you guys, I love being an elf. And like I said, just crank up that dexterity, because you know how you have points to start off with depending on what game it is, and the strength. And an elf can be almost pretty much untouchable, right? And so, and then you get more points to add to other things later. So it was just kind of cool. It was just, I thought, well, yeah, I like fantasy movies, so okay, I'll try fantasy games. Sims became a favorite. And then it was so funny because I know someone would tell me, well, but why would you want to play Sims and like have them live like a regular life and they have to go to work and stuff like that? You know, life is already like that. And I'm like, well, yeah, but watch this. And then here come the cheat codes, right? Make them rich. And then, because sometimes it was funny, like, you didn't know that they're going to get fired from the job. And so they would get fired. And I think they only had to, like, not sure what was it, 2 or 3 times. And then they're like, you're fired, blah, blah, blah. And you're reading this thing, you're like, oh my gosh. And so, you know, your Sim's all sad. Now you're trying to cheer the Sim up. But it was just funny, like, I think I just did it just to see what would happen, how close to real life was it, right? And of course that happened because the Sim didn't go to work. And so I already knew the cheat codes and I was just like, money, something, something, bam, there you go. And then when they came out with the extensions with the vacations and stuff, I just took my Sims on vacations. The one where they had pets and stuff like that. I'm a little poodle. Even I thought just because I don't like having pets and I'm allergic doesn't mean my Sim can't have it, right? You know, so that was kind of the thing about the thing for Sims for me was that the Sim could have it all. And a few strokes of keys and there you go. right? So I explained to the person, yes, but in the sense like they don't have to end up living their life like how we have to like go to work and make money, all this other stuff, and go to school and oh, gotta get a degree, things like that, right? And so I told them I can easily change their life just like that, and I can't do that to mine. That's the fun part of the Sims for me, right? So I think the person finally understood that because after a while the Sims didn't have a job. And then plus once it got to like that 3D and 4D, oh, that was cool. You guys remember that? And the water would move like when they would swim and stuff like that, and it got really better over time with graphics. I loved it. So then houses, I love architecture, and I don't too much care for math. And so I remember I had a family member tell me when they were like, well, why would you want to do architecture? It's all math, and you don't like math. You know, if you're going to go into a career like that, it has to be something that, you know, you love. And so I was like, well, yeah, you know, but I can learn how to design and the measurements of blueprints, right? And so they're like, well, yeah, a lot of it's on the computer, and when computers don't work right, you're ready to toss them across the room, and I am, right? I think I was telling you guys the other day, me and electronics don't get along. They always want to go in the fritz with me. So I was like, that is true. I do complain about like if the computer's not fast enough or something like that. So it was like narrowing down what I wanted to do. And this is back, maybe I would say junior high, teenage, high school years of just getting different advice from different adults that were in my life. And watching like the professions that they had as well. And so, yeah. But, okay, so also, well, let's get back into this. I kind of said I was going to stick to the page, right? But yes, well, I guess privacy factor, that falls in the privacy factor. How much do you tell people about yourself once you're in front of the camera, right? Okay, so I did kind of stay on topic a little bit. If you don't think I did, just give me that. Okay, so we were on the why did he tell me to do it? If he was worried about like the safety, all the other stuff, right? And so then he said, well, like I said, I touched on it a little bit, that eventually you end up being in the video. You're reviewing a hair product. It's a product that you actually have to be like right from the camera to show them how to use it. So he said he knew eventually I would end up having to be in the camera anyway. So I said, yeah, that's true. And I was dreading that. I knew that, but I was like, okay, so I kind of avoided reviewing certain things just for that simple fact. So also, okay, next page. Oh, we do a time check so now that turns over anyway. We're 21 minutes and 3 seconds. And I got to remember we have to stop in 35 minutes. Okay, and then start the second video. And you know what? I said I wasn't going to forget my salt and my lemon juice. Okay, so that's the first thing I have to go do on that quick break that we'll have coming up here shortly. Okay, so I always tell myself not to forget that, and then I do. I remember like the last time I got my teeth whitened, I was doing the lemon and the salt first, and then kind of getting ready and everything like that, and bundling up because it was cold and stuff like that. I think when I got them whitened last, and so I would brush my teeth after, so like the acid from the lemon juice and stuff like that wouldn't still be in my mouth. So I think once I got used to doing it first before I brush my teeth, that's why I keep forgetting now. Because I'm noticing I'm forgetting more often. So I'll take care of that before I do the second video for today. Okay, so then I asked him, what is it like to help record? And I was interested to see what he would say about this because it's so time consuming. For me personally, if I were to answer this question before, you know, I were to have him answer it, I like sketching. It's just, like I said, it's tedious, time consuming, and you always hope if you can't see that it's recording, that it's still recording. So I don't know if cell phones are ever going to get that thing where there's going to be like a flashing red light so that you know. But I think that'd be kind of cool. And some phones may already have it, but mine does it. Okay, so for him, you know, what is it like to help record? He said it's interesting and it's fun because you learn about the level of detail that the person that you're with wants and needs to achieve the perfection of what they want for their video. Like you start to learn like what are they looking for like when they record. It may be something as simple as roll it. If I get it right, I get it right. If I don't, I don't. It could be, no, this has to be almost close to perfect. So he said you kind of learn while you're helping them. And then he said that you learn about how much time, I mentioned time, right? Energy and effort it takes to make the videos. You have a, I don't want to say like a new appreciation, but like an understanding kind of, because it's really simple to just tell someone to do something, right? Oh, just record. I'll make like a quick 5-minute video. Oh, we'll talk about this. You know, but being behind the camera and watching the person do it is a whole different story. And I know that I'll add in what he had told me like before, or I would say from my experience of having him help before, sometimes he'll like do a little sign to me or whatever, and I'll just kind of look at him. And then, of course, he'll end up having to stop or pause the camera, and I'm like, what happened? I thought I was doing okay. Well, no, you kind of missed talking about this, and you missed saying that, and maybe you should stand a little bit more this way, and the lighting was messed up, and we had to get like past that because sometimes he would wait until I was almost finished, and I'm like, why don't you say something at the beginning? You know, so, and I'm telling you, it would be like bye-bye video, and then we would start all over again. So even when he was helping me, there was times where it was like 5 or 6 recordings. And, but once he started helping a little bit more, and it was like closer together, as opposed to, okay, he helped me like a couple months ago, and you know, I just can't record by myself today because of this, right? I only have 2 hands, right, basically. And so that's what he said, just the time, the energy, and the effort. Like you really start to understand. I would say also, especially like when I was like, I don't feel like doing this today, and then he's like, you know, but why? And I'm thinking, it's not like I'm gonna come up here 2 seconds later, I'm gonna be off of here, right? Even for this, even when I started doing the walk and talk. So yes, time, energy, and effort is what he got out of the helping recording the most. Okay, so time check, 25 minutes and 35 seconds. All right. Next question I asked him was, what do you think are some of the things that the person will face once they become monetized? So he said, you wonder if they'll commit to the business side of it, because now it's a business. And he was explaining, you know, because I was thinking personally about making sure you go in and you change your tax information so they don't take the max amount of taxes. You know, if less can be taken, the only way they're going to know that is depending on how you fill out the paperwork. It's just like when you go to work, you fill out the W-4, right? The W-4 like determines about roughly how much percentage of taxes will be taken like out of your check. And then when you get the W-2, you file your taxes, right? So there's like a W-4 kind of side to it. That may not be the form, but just the way in general a W-4 works. So YouTube is the same way. You have to go into your payment page or something like that once you're monetized, and you actually have to change. Like, I don't know if you have dependents or something like that. And then you also have to, let's see, when you apply to see if you can get monetized, well, now they call it earning, right? You have to tell them if it's going to be as a business or just as an individual. And I don't know. I'm going to see. Because once they changed the word to earn, I did wonder, is that the only thing they changed, was just what they call it? But I'm gonna find out if I ever get monetized, because I'll probably monetize this or earn as a business. Okay, so this is not just like a personal thing. That's also, if you're wondering, like, why isn't your name on your channel? Because it's meant for business. So that'd be interesting to see. But yeah, he was saying that there's a lot of things you have to know. And for taxes and stuff like that, I'm not saying I'm not going to pay attention, but that's why we have a CPA. I'm like, I need to sit down and take notes from her because she's good. So, yes, that was the main focus of the monetization part that he was thinking about is the business side for the person, because he's very business oriented. Like, to the point of like business consulting, different things like that. And so, in the past, maybe owning a couple, so knowing like the other side of it, there's a whole other side to it, the licensing, all that stuff. Okay, so then I asked him, well, he actually kind of mentioned it, and I asked him, I said, do you think I should have this as a part of this topic for today? Because he mentioned it, so I made it a question. And I feel like we're getting close to at least 30 minutes. Let me check, because, okay, we're at 28 minutes and 50 seconds. So we're doing good on time. All right, so I turned this into a question based off of the fact that he mentioned it. And it was, what do you think will happen if the person starts to make a lot of money? Okay, so the way he phrased it was, so far as being monetized, was what happens if they make just, a average amount of money as opposed to a large amount, right? He kind of went through what he thought would happen with that. So we just kind of stuck with the a lot of money part. And then he said that aside from the fact of, like he said, will they stick to the business side? Also spending habits, will it change the spending habits? Will they spend more? He goes, if you stick to the business side, like buckle down, once you get to that part, then that won't happen to where you're just end up being broke. So also he said that you wonder if it's going to change the person, like their personality. And by that time, they may actually be viral. So it goes back to the viral part. And so I guess you can say, I guess they're kind of like not famous, but then again, they kind of are somewhat because they're viral. And so, the saying, and I don't think it's true for all people, it's the same. I'm just touching on the saying itself, okay? Not my personal thought like on that, but how they say money changes people. Or once people become famous, they change. That's not true for everybody, right? So I'm just saying that, I guess, being viral is about as close to being famous if it's not considered being famous, right? So how will that change, especially if money is involved so far as their personality is concerned? So he said, you wonder about that. Okay, so also, so then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what else to ask you. And we talked about a few more things, but it was kind of like some things, he was just kind of like going over some of the stuff he'd already said. So I was like, well, you've already said this, you've already said that, that falls under this, that falls under that question. And so I said, okay, this is something that I haven't even really asked, but I think he's voiced. And so I think that's why I kind of thought about asking the question, which was, what are some of your favorite videos? And now shorts, right? Because I can make shorts. I gotta go about it kind of different ways. Can't just click create a short yet. Not enough subscribers, like I said, right? And so I asked him what are some of his favorites, videos and shorts that I've done. So the first one he said was we're 31 minutes and 46 seconds. So, you know something? Since we're only going to 35 minutes, I think, you know what I think, you guys? I'm actually going to pick up on the next video with that. Because, like I said, I honestly don't really have too much of a topic. I don't know, maybe my second video will be kind of like my feelings on his answers. Okay, so I thought that's what I would kind of go into. But I think it would be a good idea to leave one of the questions, since this was the last one, for the next part of the video. And so we're at 32 minutes and 30 seconds. And I guess what I can do is, I'm actually just gonna hold this, walk with it, because I have to stop the treadmill anyway, and say, so, I don't know what question to pose. I guess it brings two questions. Or maybe one. Okay, so it could be, we'll make it a two-part question. We will. Okay, down in the comment box below, if you want to comment, then what is it like for you to be a YouTube person? Like the creator of the content. And then also, if you are with someone that does YouTube as well, then the question of what is like in your relationship with somebody that does YouTube. Okay, so if you want to comment on that below and just say, oh yeah, it's fun. Oh, but we do ours together, so it's a little easier. We have a group of people that we film with, something like that. So, you want to give your feedback, whatever, just like I said, comment below. And we're just going to kind of slow down for a second. I feel like I'm moving like a mile a minute. Not physically, but just, I won't say mentally either. I think it's just, I know, I keep telling you guys this, but it does get warm up here. It's hot. Okay, so it's weird because usually this garage is a little bit more cooler. And so, then like the rest of, surprisingly, the house and stuff like that. Like if it's cold in there, like it's gonna be cold in here. So, yeah, I think I might take a sip of water, I don't know. We'll see how it's gonna work. And I don't wanna fold this just yet. I will fold it at the beginning of the second video, but we're getting close down to it. So, let's just go ahead, we'll do time lapse, okay? We're at 2.27 for distance, 158 calories, and I don't think I can do a pulse reading in the amount of seconds I have left. Let's see what happens. Because remember, I stopped it right at, I just remember it's not gonna be able to read it if I'm gonna have to fold this. Let me just turn it that way. Okay, pulse reading. And then we should be right at 35 minutes. Oh wow, I almost gave you guys reading and it jumped up again. Okay, so we're gonna go with 110 is my pulse. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And we're at 35 minutes and 8 seconds. So let's stop here. And then let me, kind of pull me back a little bit there. All right. I am going to leave this here. And then also, like I said at the beginning, I'm going to tell you guys just one more time as a reminder about the video 2 for today. And I'm going to go take a quick break and I'll be right back.